Hi. Today I'm going to discuss about machine learning in context to artificial intelligence, especially when we are working on the Azure environment. Because as we all know, whenever we are transforming our solutions by implementing artificial intelligence and machine learning, so there are different cloud services which we have to be up with. So one of the cloud service which normally we use in the field of application development is about Azure. Azure is one kind of cloud platform which normally we have to use it. So whenever we are working on Azure platform, especially on artificial intelligence in machine learning, wherein it's always important for us to write down the queries and all everything, right? So different queries which are being useful for us to extract the applications, whatever we are supposed to deliver. In this regard, if there are any kind of queries which are already existed, so which can be used over here. So let's see here, we need to select the kind of queries, whatever we have, right? So all these things is what something which we have to be selected with. So that is one thing. At the same time, whenever we wants to create any kind of queries, here you can see there is an option called new query. So wherein we need to select here. So and whatever the query statements which are supposed to create, right? So if you want to create any kind of results in context to the queries and all everything is what something which we can create. At the same time, here we can see there is about the format results of the downloaded format, which is especially in context to the graphical format is what something which we have to be created. So these are the informations followed by the kind of data related issues which can be incorporated, right? So whatever the graph results do we have, everything can be seen over here, wherein depends on different queries, whatever we are trying to create over here. So if you want to run the queries and all, make sure extensions has to be provided. So we need to provide the extensions for the machine learning web services when we are going to create any kind of properties, or else if we are going to create any kind of resource pooling techniques and all everything is what something which we have to be created. So when we are going to create the query, etc. At the same time, it's always important when we are working on machine learning, artificial intelligence using Azure platform. So there is an option where we have to create and set authorization scope. This is also something required. Now, if you want to create and set up authorization scope and all, we need to create, right? For example, set scope is what something which we are creating here. Set scope, right? So here you can see the set scope where we have to create whatever the scope is exactly required. So that we have to be updated in this regard. So this is one of the option wherein we need to update, right? When we are working on the machine learning part, when we are using Azure resource graph explorer and all, this is where generally authorization scope we have to be updated here. Along with this, whenever we have opened a query, when we had a query over here, you can see we have an option where we have to execute the query. So wherein the query, whatever they executed, wherein whatever the kind of results, whichever we're supposed to see, and the kind of resource groups, what we are going to maintain. So followed by authorization scopes and all everything is what something which we have to be created. So when we are working on the queries, etc. Next, when it comes to the machine learning from the web services point of view, whatever the web services we have created, because web services are the concepts which can be used when we are working on the multiple applications, because for multiple applications there are different business logics we have to write. So instead of writing different business logic for all the applications, which will put lot of effort for the developers to do that. So in this regard, so we have to create a web services. For that reason, generally, even we have to update the web services also in the machine learning. It's not only about the machine learning part. So we need to update the machine learning even. So whatever the machine learning services do we have and all everything. So that's also something which we have to be updated. So when we are working on the machine learning part, all that. So that is something which we have to be performed on this, right? So this is something which we have to be performed that is required. At the same time, whatever the list of properties to be updated, even the list of properties should also be equally mentioned over here. At the same time, we need to mention the display name, right? So display name as case was mentioned, right? So instead of case, I'm just mentioning it as um, part, right? So for example, display name, right? So if you want to specify any kind of location name or something like here, we can see that, right? So this display name can also be created. So if you make sure whenever we are going to create, we have to define the display name. So then only this is something possible. Otherwise, it won't be something possible to make it. This is where we need to provide the locations, right? So what are the centralized locations do we have? All these things is what something which we have to be updated in the queries. Next, when it comes to the charts, wherein we need to select the charts, wherein, for example, whatever the any kind of charts to be prepared, either it can be mark charts or bar charts or donut charts and all everything can also be created in this regard. So when we are working on the Azure resource graph flow, when we are working on the machine learning part. This is all about this video. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, please reach out to the contact details, which will be provided in the below this video. Thank you.